Gentlemen, welcome to yet another installment of the video series How to Be a Gentleman. So far, we've covered public cell phone use as well as dining like a gentleman. If you missed either one of those videos, there are links down in the description. You, my friend, are becoming quite the gentleman, if I do say so myself, and I'm happy about it. But I realized something, that along with your newfound gentlemanly status, gonna come a host of new invitations, parties, gatherings, and functions. And so today, we're talking about how a gentleman attends a party. A gentleman always knows who is throwing the party, a little bit about them, and why they're throwing that party. This is very important, especially if you're going as a friend of a friend. And sure, I get it, right? Most of the time, you know who's throwing the party. They're a good friend of yours. You're like, yo, it's my buddy Steve. He's having a kegger. It's gonna be killer. Gonna have wings. Because Steve likes wings and he likes football. But other times, there are going to be events where you're going to actually be invited, not by the person specifically and directly. Like we said, it's when you go as a friend of a friend, and this is increasingly common as you develop into more of a gentleman. It's very important to ask who they are, the hosts, and why they're actually having this event. You do your homework ahead of time. It's like party reconnaissance work. You go, you find out, so that when you meet them, you're like, oh my God, Brenda, you're a doll. I've heard so much wonderful stuff about you and your dog. You're having a birthday party for your dog. Isn't that precious? A gentleman always dresses up a little bit more than the people that are going to be at the party, because the gentleman knows there is nothing wrong with being the best dressed guy in the room. A gentleman also never shows up empty-handed when he attends a party. Now, this could be a birthday party, it could be a spectacular extravaganza, right? But the deal is, I like to say a general rule of thumb, if you will, is to show up with a gift for the host. That could be as simple, and the easiest thing is a nice bottle of wine. Now, if you don't drink wine, you have no idea about wine, you go into a liquor store, you ask the sales associate for a recommendation. When a gentleman arrives at the party, festivity, or extravaganza, he stops as he enters the room, surveys the scene. He's looking for people that he actually knows. If he sees somebody, he makes a beeline over to say hey. And if a gentleman doesn't see anybody that he recognizes or knows, he goes to find the host. But he does this with confidence and a smile. Looking around, saying, hey, how you doing? A gentleman works the room. A gentleman brings some cash with him in case there's an open bar. And I know in the world of debit cards, we're getting less and less likely to actually carry cash on us. But at a party, if there's an open bar, you need to make sure that you have cash in order to tip the bartender, all right? Open bar, they're providing the drinks, there's a bartender, they're not charging anything, but it is in very good form to tip that bartender. Me personally, I like to tip them really well with that first drink. You indeed will get preferential treatment and be served before everybody else. Hey, my God, be over in a second. A gentleman works the room. He also seeks out strangers. All right, so here's the deal. Common party situation and foul. You go to an event, you go to a party, and you go and find the people that you know that you're comfortable with, and you stick with them. You stick with them like skinny jeans. But the deal is, you need to get outside of your sphere of comfort, or your comfort zone as sphere. That's weird. As a gentleman, you talk to your friends, your associates, your colleagues, but you look around the room. If you see somebody who is standing by themselves, doesn't look real comfortable, that's the person to go up to. Introduce yourself. They are going to practically kiss your face. They're going to be so happy that you're actually coming up to them, because nobody likes to be the person who just sort of sticks out, doesn't know anybody. Go up, introduce yourself, get a little conversation going, and say, hey, come with me. I'd like to introduce you to some of my friends. The alpha male, the gentleman, introduces strangers to their friends. A gentleman knows when it's appropriate to network and when he needs to just cool it and be cool, socialize, mingle, just as a normal human being. Networking functions, this is the exception. If you're going to a networking event or function, it's fine. But if it's an after hours something or other, then you might want to tone it down. And if you're at a party that has absolutely nothing to do with work, you don't want to be that guy, because every party's got one. That networker, right? The networker guy. He's got business cards in his pocket. He's like, yeah, call me. Hey, you need to buy a watch? I got you. A gentleman doesn't get smashed at parties, all right? I know once in a while, you go to a party, you have one too many, you get a little bit tipsy, and you have a headache the next day. It's fine. But there is nothing good about being the drunk, sloppy mess, all right? The guy that people are telling stories about. You want to make an event a lot less fun? Don't remember it the next morning and then have people tell you about what a fool you were or I'm telling you, if you've been there, I think a lot of us have, it's no fun, and a gentleman knows how to control and moderate his alcohol consumption. A gentleman thanks the host prior to leaving, and the gentleman never leaves and drives if he's had too much to drink. Utilize Uber, call a cab, program it into your phone. There is absolutely no excuse. Guys, you're not only taking your life into your own hands, you're taking other people's lives. Don't drink and drive ever. Attending a party as a gentleman bonus tip is RSVP. When you get sent an invitation, gentlemen RSVP. They let them know if they're coming. If they're not, they let them know that as well. They also let them know how many people they will be bringing. It's also not polite to bring more than one person unless you actually ask that host. And a lot of times you ask, say, hey, I've got these 2 people. Would you mind if they come? Most of the time they're going to say no, not at all. The more the merrier. But the deal is you don't want to just show up with a truckload of folks. And now you know how to party like a gentleman.